I graduated from University of Lagos, BSc Estate Management. I worked in an oil company. I ventured into real estate. It was tough. I started with agency. Back then, they used to call us Tantalizers agents. What set me apart basically was that I was big on adverts. I was on Castle's magazine for about 4 years, page 2. It wasn't a profession that was respected. People looked at agents and all that. We're doing our best to make sure that those people that are poor do not lose their life. If everything you can buy is with money, then you are poor. Your integrity is currency. The quality of your job is your currency. In this industry, you have to hold something. If you don't hold God, I don't know what else you will hold.
Dr. Chidi, thank you so much for joining us today. First, we'd like you to share with us your entrepreneurial journey. How did you get started and how did you get to this point?
Okay, so after school, I graduated from University of Lagos, BSc Estate Management in 2007. I worked in an oil company, Prima Atlantic Sigilec. I was their facility manager for about 3 or 4 years. And then I had always known that I would not stay in a paid employment for a very long time, because right from a young age, I had a passion for real estate basically. So after working for about 3 or 4 years, I ventured into real estate. It was tough. It was a very tough time, actually. I started with agency. Back then, they used to call us Tantalizers agents because what we do basically is that you just come to Lekki phase 1, you park under the tree in Tantalizers, and then clients approach you. Once you need a property, basically you just come to Tantalizers. You must see an agent. So it's like we call it Osafia.
Interesting.
You understand? And then that's how we started. But what set me apart basically was that I was big on adverts. I was on Castle's magazine for about 4 years, page 2. So that's how people knew about the company, Chidi Etoniru and Associates. I was quite big on adverts. Anywhere if I make small money, the next thing I throw it into ads and all that. So that's what actually brought the company out. And then that's how we started basically. Yeah.
Okay, so while you spoke, you mentioned the name of your company, Chidi Etoniru and Associates.
Yes,
tell us, what do you do there?
Okay, so Chidi Etoniru and Associates is a real estate firm under the Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyors and Valuers, which means we are licensed to practice real estate in Nigeria. So it's basically brokerage, valuation, advisory, property management, facility management, property development. So that's all we do. However, I would say Chidi Etoniru and Associates has come to a one-stop shop because we've looked at all the value chains when it comes to everything real estate, and we've been able to capture this value chain. Like we have a moving company, which is Move Smart. We have a cleaning company, which is Clean Smart. We have a fumigation company, which is Bug Boss. We're also into smart homes. So if you come to the office, upstairs is where you have the other companies like Move Smart, Chidi Etoniru, JA Projects, which is into construction. And then on the ground floor, we have a smart home showroom where we do cinemas, everything smart homes. So we've been able to capture these value gaps and in the value chain.
Great. So when you were talking a bit about your background just now, you said you worked away for about 3-4 years. So
about 4 years.
Okay.
So as a facility manager.
Facility manager, right?
Yes.
How long has been Chidi Etoniru and Associates? When did you start the company?
So we started Lagos branch.
Lagos branch. So there's branches.
Yes. So there's a branch in Port Harcourt. That's where we have our head office.
Oh, really?
Yes, but we started the Lagos branch somewhere around 2011. 2011, 2012. Of course, skeletal services and all that. You know how it is on the streets agency.
Yes.
And back then, funny enough, it wasn't a profession that when you talk about brokerage, it wasn't a profession that was respected. People looked at agents and all that. You understand? It was more like for the low. It wasn't attractive. It was after the meltdown.
2020.
No, not before 2020. There was
Like
Megamound,
okay.
yeah, before then, where they sacked bankers.
Okay, okay, yes.
So that was when people started looking, this agency, people are, she been out to show house, I collect 10%. So that's how people now started getting interested in agency. And right now, or brokerage, right now, it's no longer an all commerce game. You see people who are actually educated, who they want to earn a living from brokerage, or from real estate, basically. Yeah.
Okay, great. You had said that you schooled in
University of Lagos.
Okay.
I also have a master's from University of Lagos in facility management.
Okay, okay. Where are you from?
I'm from Anambra State, Oba, Isuoba.
From a family of how many?
We're just three.
Okay.
I'm the only son. I have sisters that are twins, two girls.
Okay. Great, great, great. So as a family, how do you combine your personal family with business?
It's a bit difficult, especially when you're doing a lot, but what differentiates you basically is to know how to bring about that balance.
Okay.
Yeah, have family time, and then you have business time. But because I've risen to that level where I'm now a CEO somehow, you don't have to run around for everything. I leave my house maybe at about 9, 10, mostly at about 10 a.m. I visit sites till about 2, 3 o'clock, and then I resume in the office. So usually all my meetings starts from about 3, 4, 5 into 6, 7, and then I retire back to the house. So by 8, 9 p.m. I'm at home. So that's enough time for you to spend with the kids and family. Awesome. In Lagos State.
Right. So yes.
In Lagos State, yes, because it's a state that runs
247.
247. Right. Yeah, with the traffic and all that.
Yes, yes. So now I know you're the current vice chairman for Real Estate Developers Association of Nigeria. Okay. Lagos. You want to tell us what is Redan doing about most of the challenges that is currently ongoing in the market as to areas like in Ekbe, where they have government policies coming in to alter some of the things that are going on there. What is the position of Redan about it?
Okay, so we just got into office. We're about 2 or 3 months old. But what we've been able to do is that we've been able to bring together all the developers that have issues. We had a town hall meeting, I don't know if you are aware, with all these developers, and we're trying to resolve these issues basically. For those that can repurchase the land, for those that can do ratification and all that, we are looking for ways to make sure that most of our members, in quote, our members, because of course we'll first deal with members before we start dealing with outsiders, do not lose their lands. Some might have bought in error, some might have bought the right way, but did not do the right thing. So we're doing our best to make sure that those people that have bought do not lose their lands. Yeah. So I had a lot of clients from Diaspora that would come in with money. I would not find anything to buy. That is very standard. I bought a land in Megamound. That's where I started my first project. It took me 1 year to pay, And I tell people, it's garbage in, garbage out. But if you build quality, you get paid well. My first project basically was just from proceeds from brokerage. For me, every project for me is my profile. Right now, we are doing 48 units of 2-bed in Lekki phase 1. Like I told you, I've not approached any bank. Integrity is very key. You say you deliver, you deliver. The strategy would be anything you find doing, make sure you do it well. It takes time, but one day it's going to pay off.
So, for financing, how do you go about financing for your project?
Okay, so I will tell you about my story and why I've never approached any bank or I've never met any finance company to bankroll me. So, when I was doing agency, I did that for or brokerage. I did that for quite a while, and then I realized the gap in the market. And I tell people, if realtors cannot build right, then it's going to be difficult, because on the field you get a lot of feedbacks. You hear from clients.
Right.
So when going into construction, you have to ensure that these feedbacks, you infuse them back into the development. So I had a lot of clients from Diaspora that would come in with money and would not find anything to buy. That is very standard. People that used to build well back in the days were just in Lekki phase 1.
Okay.
In quotes. Every other person on this axis were just building normal, affordable homes, exactly. And they had this mentality that there's a price cap on properties.
Okay.
So I realized that gap, and I bought a land in Megamound. That's where I started my first project.
Okay.
I bought that land then for about 70 million. It took me 1 year to pay. You know, agency comes in 2 million, 3 million, you keep on paying.
Right.
And thanks to Otumba, he understood that this man is a young man that is just starting, and then he gave me that leverage. So what I did was that I replicated what was happening in Lekki phase 1 in Megamound. I built a detached house, and then when I was building, most developers would come and say, Joe, is this your personal house or you're planning to sell? I said, I'm selling this house.
Okay.
So it was the first house with cinema in that exit. It was the first house with smart home features. It was the first house that was properly done in Megamound. Of course, other people were building, but I took my time to do it right. And then when I sold, houses were selling for about 75 million then in Megamound. I sold for 120. And I tell people, it's garbage in, garbage out. But if you build quality, you get paid well, and that's the truth. I sold for 120. That was my first house. And the people like the Igbo developers, you know, my friends called me. Etoniru, are you sure you sold for 120 with me? Yeah, you sold for 120. I said, yes, I did. And the whole truth is that if you build well, you sell well.
Correct.
And that changed the narrative. That's when you now started seeing people putting in effort, using quality materials, using quality doors, you know, employing good handymen and all that. And that, to an extent, changed that narrative within my Igbo developers. Yeah, you understand? Because we went to Dubai for a function, the Igbo developers, and they called me and I said, okay, Toniru, thank you for this. And that changed so many things basically. And then from there, from Megamound, we did few projects. From there, we went to Pinnock. From Pinnock, we're now in Lekki phase 1, and that's where we are basically from. From Lekki phase 1, we're going to Ikoyi. Yes, so
that's the movement.
That's it. Yes,
that's the direction of the movement.
Exactly. So that's it. But we thank God. It's not by our power. It's just God's grace.
CEO, sir, you have not touched on the financing.
Okay. Yes. Back to so as I was saying.
Right.
My first project basically was just from proceeds from brokerage.
Yes.
Yeah. So it took me about 1 or 2 years to build, and then, like I told you, I built it well, I sold well, and then for other projects, because people had seen what I've done, it's easier for me to sell off plan. When I moved to Lekki phase 1, I got a joint venture. I had people who were buying detached houses, my detached houses at almost same price of completed units, because they knew what I've done in the past. So for me, every project for me, it's my profile. I did something in Orchid, 14 units. You cannot find anything like that around that axis. I had to go 2 floors, ground plus 2, because I realized that people were doing only 1 floor, and there were so many complaints. Where is this space? I can't see anywhere to put my bed and all that. So you know what I did? I went 2 floors. So it's not, you can't find anything around that axis. And right now we're selling a terrace for 160 million, and we're sold out. We only have 2 units left because of the quality we put into the project. Right now we are doing 48 units of 2-bed in Lekki phase 1. Like I told you, I've not approached any bank, but once people see what you've done, I had a client who bought 3.
Wow.
She came to the office, bought 3 units, bought her friend bought 2. That's 5. So that's just it. Because they've seen your quality, and then they know you have integrity. Integrity is very key. If you say you deliver, you deliver. So basically what we do is sell off plan. And the good thing about us, because of our quality, we sell almost at premium. So the issue of inflation and all that, of course, it will affect you.
Right.
But when you're selling a 2-bed for over 200 million in Lekki Phase 1 off plan, it's difficult for inflation to hit you.
To hit it and then
yes, and so
awesome.
that's it basically.
You mentioned off plan.
Yes, please.
What is an off plan?
An off plan is a project that is just starting where clients key into. So you're just starting the project, or the project is at the construction stage. So which means you can key into it and spread payment for a number of years, months or years, depending on what agreement is being reached.
Great. So you had said that your financing structure, or how you got into construction, was the proceeds from consultation and brokerage.
Yes, please.
Right. So for anyone who would want to be an entrepreneur, right, in this line of business, what would you recommend should be his strategy for starting?
The strategy would be anything you find doing, make sure you do it well. You really think people are not watching? People are actually watching. Anything you're doing, do it well. It takes time, but one day it's going to pay off. So your integrity is your currency. It's very key. Like Joshua Selman said,
right,
if everything you can buy is with money, then you are poor. Your integrity is currency. The quality of your job is your currency. People are actually watching. It's just a function of time. That's the truth. So because approaching a bank now, you can be approaching a bank in real estate with 35-38% interest rates. You're not going to survive it. So it is your profile that you've built back in the days, that would speak for you. That's why I tell you that every project I do, it's my profile. I can point to, I did this, and it's a lot easier when people can trust you. So that's it. We sit down, we look at the numbers. It's not something we've done before, but we're open to it. I lost a container to customs worth about 40 million. That's why when it comes to business, sometimes 1 + 1 is not 2. You can tick all the boxes, but that's part of business. The Holy Spirit just told me, forget it. Of course, like I told you, I've never borrowed any funds. That project will cost me about 600 to 700 million naira. And then, of course, I didn't have the money as a young developer. But faith, I went into it. So it brings me back to my faith, that sometimes you lose, but God is setting you up for something bigger. The best win for me would be starting JEA project.
If somebody who is interested in investment with you, with Chidi Etoniru Associates, how should they go about it?
If somebody is interested in investing with us,
yes.
When you talk about investment, is it clientele or an investor?
Let's say both.
Both. So basically, we look at the numbers.
Right.
We sit down, we look at the numbers. It's not something we've done before, but we're open to it. We sit down, we look at the numbers. We look at, because it is better to do per project. You understand? Not as an investor. We can look at a project that per project, and then let us say we have a project in Igbo that is costing us 3-4 billion naira. We can look at, these are the profit that is being projected, and then we can all look at it. Okay, what are you bringing into this project? Right. What profit can we give you, and all that. So it's a possibility. However, it's not something we've done.
So my next question would be, from listening to you, you've been in the game for over 12 years.
Yes, please, over 12 years.
Great. We would like you to share with us, what is that challenge that almost threw you off the business?
So in about 2014, because of the quality of my project, I usually bring in my materials either from Turkey, China, or Dubai. I used to do Dubai before, but now I've opened up into Turkey and China. So I lost a container to customs worth about 40 million as at then. And this was...
As at 2014?
As at 2014, my
when
brother.
the dollar was like...
Yes, I lost a container. That container had kitchen, marble, etc. However, I did everything by the books. That's why when it comes to business, sometimes 1 + 1 is not 2. You can tick all the boxes, but you know that's part of business. So I use somebody who my mentor has been using.
Okay.
And I didn't have any issue. You know, this is somebody that was referred to me. This is somebody that was referred to me, so I didn't have any issue. I paid him, paid the clearing agent. However, he went and he declared the items in the container as motor spare parts. When he tried to clear the container, he had cleared it. It was leaving the port. It got seized, and that was how that container went. I went to Abuja. Abuja was like a wherefore to Chevron. I was in Abuja to and then, you know, along that process, the Holy Spirit just told me, forget it. And that's how I left that container. And I'll tell you, that's what also made me move into the Lekki market as at that time. So I realized that I'd lost money. I needed to make up for it. Of course, like I told you, I've never borrowed any funds. So these were my personal funds. And I started looking for a joint venture in Lekki Phase 1. And luckily for me, I was just at home one day. A friend called me. My father-in-law wants a joint venture. Can you do it? I said, then that project will cost me about 600 to 700 million naira. I said, then of course I didn't have the money as a young developer. But faith, I went into it. I had maybe just about 200 million at that point in time. Luckily for me, a client of mine bought one of my detached houses off plan. That's why it comes back to quality and integrity. As at that point in time, detached houses we were selling for about 230 in Lekki Phase 1. I sold for 225 off plan. So it was a good deal. You understand? And that's how I finished that project. That project, as at then, in sales was about 2.2 billion. Because there are about six units in Lekki Phase 1. So it brings me back to my faith that sometimes you lose, but God is setting you up for something bigger. And then that project, in the course of that project, that's where I also got my office. So my office is just opposite the project. So for anybody that comes to the office for my off-plan projects, once they come out, who did this project? I'm the one. Okay, you did this. That's good. Okay, we're keening. So I lost, but it was a blessing. It was an opening for me.
Awesome.
So awesome. God's grace is what has actually brought me this far.
Awesome. You know, the question was your challenge. Apparently, from the challenge came opening.
Yeah.
You mentioned a couple of things. I want to ask a few questions.
Okay.
When you say Igbo developers,
hey. So the Igbo community has a community of Igbo developers. They formed a group. Do you understand? They formed like a group where, you know, we meet, we discuss and all that. It's like a family. And you would understand that most of these developers are just from a small community in Anambra State. From the east.
Right.
So they know themselves somehow. And it's just a small community that, they've come together and are pushing this industry. They're one of the drivers when it comes to
real estate.
Yes.
You also talked about the challenges you faced. You mentioned a few things. You talked about your faith and the Holy Spirit. You're a Christian.
Yes. In this industry, you have to hold something. If you don't hold God, I don't know what else you hold. So mine is only God that I know,
right?
And that's what has kept me this far. I look up to the hills. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord. So that's it. Yeah.
Awesome. So you've shared with us your challenge. What has been the best win you've had in business for about 12 years? Okay,
so the best win for me would be starting JA projects.
Okay.
Because, as a broker or as an agent, I like to use that word agent or broker. It takes a lot for you to transcend from being brokerage into development. So for me, I think the big win would be for me to go into property development.